Want to hear about a creepy domestic thriller? Well, stick around when I chat about Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. Hey friends, Roger here, and welcome to my channel, Roger's Reads. So today I'm doing a little book chat of a creepy domestic thriller entitled Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. So the story follows married couple Jack and Grace. And from the outside it looks like they have the perfect marriage, and that Grace has the perfect life. She has a beautiful home and a handsome, successful husband who never leaves her side. The people who know them call it true love. And perhaps you know people like this, who seem to have the perfect relationship or the perfect marriage. But things are not as they appear, as hinted at by the title. And that is the premise of this heart-in-your-throat domestic psychological thriller. So right from the very start, there is this intense sense of foreboding that grabs you right by the throat and doesn't let go until the end. So from reading the blurb, it's pretty easy to figure out what's really going on. But the extent of it and the diabolical manner in which it's carried out, the way that it's executed, is shocking. I actually thought the blurb gave away too much, and I wish I'd gone into this book without having read it. But still, this was one hell of a hair-raising journey. So I enjoyed how the story alternated between past and present, with both being told from Grace's point of view. So here we see how Grace met Jack, we see the early days of the relationship, and how things ended up the way they are in the present, a living nightmare. Now, I'll say that there's really no jaw-dropping twists, turns, or surprises, though the ending was fantastic. And there's really no great mystery to solve here. Instead, we follow along with our heroine as she struggles through her terror to find a way out. And it was the anticipation of the unknown, the anticipation of what might be coming, that ratchets up the tension in this book. And the suspense level is off the charts. Now, what I found especially terrifying about this story was how easily our heroine found herself trapped and isolated. And the realization while reading it that this could, under the right circumstances, happen to anyone was bone-chilling. So this was quite an intense story, and I found it difficult to read at times, not because the content was graphic or gory, because it wasn't. Instead, it was the situation of our heroine, one in which every day was filled with terror, how every taste of certain imminent freedom ended up in utter disappointment and frustration. It's how the author gives us just enough information to imagine the worst. And just when we think Grace's situation can't get any worse, it does. So this harrowing, fast-paced, super claustrophobic story was definitely a page-turner for me. The characters of Grace and Jack were extremely well fleshed out, complex, and believable. And as for the story, it was disturbing on so many levels, and it made me feel during several places throughout the book as though I'd been sucker punched. It's a sick, twisted, depraved little book with a villain that is pure evil, and yet I couldn't put it down. So this phenomenal story is about mental abuse taken to the extreme, and was so expertly plotted and drawn out that I was stunned to later learn that this was the author's debut novel. I mean, yay, B.A. Paris. Because the pacing here is flawless, the characterization splendid, but what really stood out for me was the tension that the author creates. It had my heart racing most of the time that I was reading it. So Behind Closed Doors is so incredibly nightmarish, raw, gut-wrenching, and unsettling that it's impossible not to be taken on a wild emotional ride. And I ended up giving this nail-biter 5 solid stars. Have you read this? If so, what did you think? Let me know in the comments. And did you like this video? If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you click the like button below, as that really helps my channel out. And that about does it. I will talk to you all in the next video. Roger and out.